Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to EML F1. We are here tonight for round number 4 of the championship as we take in the Belgian Grand Prix from, of course, the Circuit de Sport from Cachamp. My name is James Head, going to be taking you to the stream as always, and joining me in the commentary box is my regular partner in crime on a Wednesday. It is Mr. IRT Indigo, otherwise known as Jamie Morris. Jamie, how you doing?
I'm not too bad, mate. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. A bit fresh-faced for my academy appearance a little bit early on, but looking forward to the action in Belgium.
Oh yeah, of course. The Belgian Grand Prix is such an iconic venue. Been around since the Formula One World Championship back in 1950, along with the likes of Silverstone, Monza, and Monaco as well. I've seen plenty of action around here at the Belgian Grand Prix. So hopefully, it'll be a great circuit, a long circuit too, 7 kilometers long. So it's quite difficult as well with the technical section and the high-speed corners around here. So I can't wait to see how the drivers tackle it here tonight.
Yeah, it is going to be a really interesting race, of course, out on track tonight. Of course, remember from Japan, Nando took the race win from Gilles in second. Daddlepad finishing there in third. The main highlights, of course, from the stewards' report anyways. Rastaz picked up a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision on lap 26, turn 13. And FVR Sasha, who's now no longer a part of FVR with them closing down, and we'll come on to them in just a second. He picked up a 5-second penalty for causing a collision on lap 27, and that was on the stop from straight, which we actually didn't see on stream. It was an incident between Keke and Sasha. 5-second penalty, I think, rightfully deserved for that incident. What did that do to the championship standings? Well, Outplayed Racing currently lead the way on 124. The first time they're actually leading the championship this season. F7R in second on 107, with Team Shazoo in third on 80 points. FBR now no longer, of course, part of EML moving forward. RCR are going to be replacing them for tonight. FBR, though, in fourth on 79 points. They'll still be used, I'm sure, in the graphic. G League in fifth with 59 points. Then NLR in sixth on 57. ETA Esports in 7th on 55, fresh from there win, of course, with Lifeboat and Academy. PGS Sim Racing even in 8th on 27. The next Esports and WSC tied on 9th and 10th on 17 points, respectively. And Jamie, coming into tonight, Outplayed Racing leading the way. Bit of controversy has actually come their way over the last week or so. How are they able to deal with that controversy tonight? And are they able to turn that into race wins again?
Forget about the last races and just move on, really. That's all you can do. There's no point dwelling on it and just thinking about it in the last few races. So it's all done and dusted now. Whatever's happened, and we've all got to move on and just focus on the next race and just enjoy the action, because there's still plenty of chances to try and get the championship in hand as well. So that's what all the drivers will be focused on tonight, is the Belgian Grand Prix, and moving on is the best course. And it looks like Axelino has said in the chat that Kian is going to get a pole. He's too fast for Spa. I think I've seen Kian at the Belgian Grand Prix sometimes as well. So I think he's quite a quick driver, and he could be an interesting one to look at. But it's a shame for FER, because I was looking forward to seeing their drivers taking part, but now they'll be replaced by RCR. So let's see how RCR do on their debut for Aston Martin around here, replacing the FER boys. And Papa Hollendorp is in the chat too to support his his son Kian in FERs or F7R. So let's see how he does tonight.
Nice pronunciation, by the way. I don't think I can get to those level of Dutchness, potentially, in terms of my commentary anyways. Felix Swan, by the way, is the first man out on track. He's about to go out for a lap time. We will bring you, of course, the action in just a little bit. But there is the grid for tonight. Max Power and ET8 Mohammed are in for ET8 in the Red Bull. Shazoo, Zayn and Fedi are in for Team Shazoo, with McLaren represented, of course, by F7R, Aurelian and Kian representing them. RCR represented by Lorenzino and Matozo. That is going to be very hard to say for me in commentary if they're together. They're, of course, in the Aston Martin replacing FBR. G League have got Enzo and Ghost King in. Very good lineup, actually, for GL. I think they're WR Legacy Division qualifying lineup, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Wiener and Louis Valentin in for Ferrari. Of course, OP looking to try and get Louis Valentin potentially on pole position here tonight. Shocks and Mika are in for the AlphaTauri for WSC. Marlon and Tales in. Brand new signing, Tales to NLR in recent weeks. I think he's been with the team 2 weeks now. Marlon and Tales there in for Williams. He's done a phenomenal job, of course, in PSGL F2. Pokeball and Felix Swan there in the Alfa Romeo. And then Benny and Lucas in the PGS team for the Hatters as well. Pascal saying in the chat he's supporting his son every single race, which is really good. He follows me everywhere as well, which is really good in that respect as well. We are going to get the first drivers out on track, and it has taken the drivers a little bit of time. maybe to come out on track. And I think that might be to do with something that Belgium is known for, Jamie, and that is the weather, because quite a few drivers have actually came out a little bit later than what we expected.
Yeah, we usually see some runs about this time, but Felix one was actually the first one to go out there. I was on board with him until he just disappeared off the screen because he left the session. So by now he would have done a lap time with Felix one, but unfortunately he would not participate. I've invited him back, so hopefully he can get a run in. Max Power comes. Oh, Mika disqualified for parking a deep, dangerous location, but Max Power makes his way towards the line then as we head down into 10-1, braking just before the 50-meter board there. You can see they're locking up on entry, going slightly out wide and using curb on the exit for support. Powers out the first corner. You see wheel spin as he applies throttle there with traction as we make our way into the flat out turn 2 and turn 3. Eau Rouge and Radion there takes it very nice and flat as you want to do in these Formula 1 day cars. And now DRS enabled for on the Kemmel straight for Max Power, 335 kilometers an hour, that's about 208 miles an hour. As we break at the 50-meter board, want to carry a lot of speed through here, threading the needle, using all the curves as well to maximize the track as we exit Lacombe. And here we are then into Ravage, then downhill braking zone. Not really a real reference going into there. You're just going to pick it and choose your moments as we're coming through No Name then. Bring it in at the F1 board there, using all the curb on the outside. You can get away with through No Name as we head into Pouon. Flick it in through there, slight lift off. No need to dab on the brakes on this occasion for Max Power, and it should be flat out as we head into the fan chicane then. Breaking the 50-meter board, and you just want to carry the speed through here, try and get use the curbs for extra rotation as well. Use all the track of the exit as we head into this right-hander we go, and another right-hander will pop up soon, which is Stavolo, flat out through here. And that's very nice and easy for him as well in that middle sector for Max Power then, as he becomes the first driver who will set a lap time as some people are exiting the pit lane then. So we're 6 minutes in already, and not a lot of people, not anybody set a lap time yet. Now Max Power makes his way towards the bus stop chicane, going to scrub off all the speed there, kiss the apex in the last 2 corners, and just be careful traction as well, as the tyres are very hot at this stage. As he crosses the line now, it's a 41.4 for Max Power.
Yeah, good lap time actually by Max Power. He went at full power, or max power, you could say, on that lap time as well. Enzo there, 29.9 in the first sector. So seems to be, actually, the later you go out, the better off it is. Let's watch on board with F7R Kian, but I can already tell is up on Max Power's time. As Louis Valentine, though, goes quickest with a 40.7. So Kian might have something to say about that. The F7R man on the run to the line. Oh my god, it's a 40.2 already. In, 6 minutes of qualifying that we've had, Kian is 5/10 quicker than a man who has done F1 Esports twice in the last 3 years. Wiener there splitting the pair as well between them both, but 0.4 of a second between Kian and Wiener, which is why Kian is so good around this track.
And that's why probably F7R as well chose him specifically to race around here in Belgium, knowing his progress. So it's a good call for F7R, and let's see what his team at Orient does as well. So we can see the lap times on the board. OP drivers in P2 and P3 trying to leave where they left off at the Japanese Grand Prix with a 1 and 3. But this time they've got a lot to work with. F7R Kian on the move too. I think Kian took part at the Japanese Grand Prix, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he did. He finished in P4 just ahead of Orient there, and he was fighting for a podium, but he couldn't get that up or Jill in the end. Jill did a fantastic job for GL to maintain P2 after all that pressure he sustained, but he's not here tonight. He's replaced by Enzo as well, so we'll see how those guys get on as more drivers progress towards this qualifying session. ETA Mohammed as well is another driver I want to keep an eye on. He's quite quick, and also someone says, can Kian retire already? At 40.2 at the beginning of a session on a banker, your first ever lap, is incredible. I don't know how these drivers could just get the lap times in, because if it was me, I'll be struggling. It'll take me like 2 or 3 laps to finally get a lap time on the board. But these drivers are professionals and in high esports team for a reason. So you got to give mad respect to no matter who they are, setting in these lap times quickly at this stage in qualifying too.
Yeah, definitely so. Molon, by the way, is a 1:12.3 in the middle sector, so Molon's looking quite good, actually. The NLR man, of course, in the Williams. Felix is delighted. I'm delighted to say he's back in the session. Kyle Scarrett saying, James, your mic is good. Ignore Nathan. He's always moaning about something. Thank you very much, Kyle. I was changing the mic volumes low for last night in WORLD because it was quite low there as well. So hopefully it's not a thing maybe on my end. But Marlon now coming through the final corner. I think he's going to split the pedal between Keane and Wiener. And he does. He goes second by a 10th of a second over Wiener. So good lap there by the NLR man. Of course, the last time that we came here as well to EML F1 back in the day, or EML Premier 1 as it was known then, back in the day. Season 1 and Season 3. Season 1, Young Power took the win, who is now Max Power, I believe, out on track. Young Power taking the win there from Amazing Hour in second, and Kreiser finishing there in third for F1, F2 that season. Asaru, Datamo, and Fleddy rounding off the top 3 in F2. And then Premier 1, as it was in Season 3, well, you've seen him in the chat. Axelinho took the race win around here the last time we were here in Premier 1. Kaufalidis finishing in second for FER. Really, really big name to actually come out there. As Ghost Kings on the run to the line for GL, on the run to the line, 41.5. Not a bad lap there at all from him. But in F2, Kaufalidis there second, Ruti there in third in terms of Premier 1 the last time we came around here. Premier 2, it was a TTG 1-2. Carlsbury from Harry Banks from SXT Mike finishing in third position. They're the only 2 times that we've come here in Premier 1, or in F1 as it's now known these days. Keane there winning, currently out on top by 0.3 of a second from Marlon, second. Wiener there in third. And already, I think that lap time is going to be very, very hard to beat. Shazoo Feddy now on a lap time as well. And Feddy, of course, has been in a whole mix, really, of esports teams back in the day. Now part of Team Shazoo, of course, the last few months. And Feddy making his debut here, I believe, in EML Premier 1, EML F1 even tonight. Will get that wrong for sure during the season. But it's a 30th lap through the first sector. He's not looking too bad. He has got a bit of traffic ahead of him, though.
Yeah, so I think the Alpine gets out of the way for him as he negotiates through no name as well. It can be a tricky corner, especially on the exit there with track limits. You want to use all the track available on the right hand side without exceeding it. Now coming through, put on another fascinating corner. It's so easy to understate in the race through here. You're carrying a lot of fuel and dirty air as well as you come through the Fender chicane. I always seem to struggle in the Fender chicane for some reason. I don't really take the curve that much when I know I have to, but just I can't hook it up like these guys can. And now we're coming through turn number 14, I believe it is, and now through Stablo, another great corner as well. We've seen plenty of action through there. People in league racing have crashed through there at the exit of Stablo as well, so that's an interesting corner to crash at. But saw Perez and Hamilton crashed through there, or make contact. Now coming through Blanchimont, where Kimi Raikkonen back in 2008 lost the car, fighting against Hamilton and has put it in the wall, and Massa won that day due to Hamilton's post-race penalty. Now Fede comes towards the final 2 corners, and let's see then, gets on the throttle. Let's see what lap time he can set. It's going to be a 41.2, and he puts himself into P7 as Taylor's got a 5-place grip on the 2. Oh, this is going to be a restart for sure now.
It is, and at least it's happened a little bit earlier in the session than towards the end. Yeah, they're queuing up through Puon, which is why Talas there is running in very high 5th gear. I'm not sure, actually. He is on an outlap, but he's got a Haas man in behind him as well. Stewards might actually take a look at this. I know Nathan is one of the stewards here, of course, in EML F1. And he will certainly look at this and probably think, yeah, these guys are so running close together. It might be a worthy 5-second penalty. Now, normally illegal blocking is covered, as Enzo's on a lap at the minute. Illegal blocking normally covered by a restart. On this occasion, though, Tales in the middle of 2 cars. Oh, is that Enzo very close there to a car going slow in towards Blanchimont. Enzo looking good, though. Shox has retired out of the session. I'm just trying to see if that is out on track or in the pit lane. That is actually coming through the exit of Les Combes through Malmedy, running down towards that section of the track. Mercedes as well as Spun coming through that part of the track as well. But Enzo for G League on the run toward the line. Let's see what the man can do. The Frenchman's going to do. 41.9. Good lap from him. And he actually goes into 6th position. I think I said a 41.9. A 40.9 from Enzo going 6th.
Yeah, so the Alpine's lost his car into P6 then, so a great lap time from the G League driver in P6. His teammate Ghost King is still in the pit lane. We saw him cross the line a few moments ago as well. As the C drivers then on their lap times. I think Max Power again, always invalidated his lap time, has Max Power. So yeah, it's just a shame there because he's 2/10 up actually in the first set. To tells the man that picked up that 5-place grip on the 2, unfortunately for him, is on a lap time as well. We're just seeing who else is out there. Kian is getting a really good tow from O'Reilly in there. So great team play as it is a team event. event. So once again, F7R really showing some great team play. I think Mohammed is on a lap time. He's coming through the middle sector. He's a 12.6 in that middle sector. So I don't know the reference points in the middle sector, the first or middle, because I haven't really seen them. But here we are. ETA Mohammed hasn't set a lap time either. I've commentated over Mohammed before, and he didn't set a lap time for the whole session in Belgium. Then at the very late stages, he took it all away. I think his teammate Daniel started in last place at the time as well. But here we are, then ETA Mohammed coming towards the final two corner, a bit hesitant in that final corner there, had to adjust his steering, and now makes his way towards the line. What's it going to be for him? It's going to be P10 only for Mohammed. I know he could go quicker than that because I've seen it.
Yeah, definitely. Mohammed as well has been in League of Europe in the back of the day as well. Apologies for any lag there. I was just closing down a couple of things on my laptop. But yeah, Ite Mohammed in 10th. He has been versing himself as part of the League of Europe lineup for Division 1. 3/10 up, by the way, Keen in the middle sector. This could be a 39-9 incoming, potentially for the man from F7R, the Dutchman, in towards the final couple of corners. Is he now going to try and excel himself? Are we going to see the first 39 that I think I've ever seen around here in Belgium? Kian now on the run to the line. Is it a 39-9? Yes, it is. Brilliant lap time by Kian, but everyone out of reach at 0.6 of a second between Kian and Marlon. A 39-9. Get out of here is what I'm going to say. Huge lap from Kian. That's pole position. Everyone may as well pack up and go home.
Oh my goodness, I've never actually witnessed a 39 whilst I've raced or commentated around here at the Belgian Grand Prix. That is incredible. The amount of skill as well that has to go into it, the amount of concentration, the commitment, the speed you have to carry. I don't know how these drivers do it, you know. It's just so intriguing. But Aurelien gets a slipstream, so the favours returned for Aurelien there as he gets a lovely toe. Can Aurelien match his teammate Ian? He'll be asking him questions about how he can set a 39.9. So Aurelien is there 7/10 away from his teammate as he gets a lovely toe on the straight there. And like you see in the comments section as well, people's reaction. 346 kilometers an hour, that's about 215 miles an hour, but he's still down in the first sector. Is Aurelien there, so I'm not quite sure if he had a moment on turn 1 or something, but still he can make up the time in the middle and last sector. Can Aurelien there, and I think he was close to finish on the podium in Australia, but unfortunately he was on the hard compound tyres towards the end and got swamped by others too. So yeah, being on the road strategy there cost Aurelien the race as well, and also at the Japanese Grand Prix too, where it cost him too. So yeah, I think he had a moment in the Japanese Grand Prix. I'm not quite sure what it was. I think he was fighting for P2 at the time, but yeah, a slight moment at Degner 1, I think it was, and he cost himself a lot of time. I think it was the hairpin when he made contact with Jill, and that's what sent into a spin. So that's the reason why Aurelien fell down the order. Ooh. Oh, look at this, 3/10 in the sector. So he could make it an F7R 1 and 2 if he continues like this.
Yeah, this is a huge lap incoming from F7R. Put it this way, OP, currently leading the championship. They're probably not going to be, let's just face it, by the end of tonight, because they're, what, 3rd and 5th? Possibly 4th and 5th in a second if Aurelien does bank this lap in the bus-stop chicane. Possibly around a 4/10 improvement incoming here for the F7R man. Should be hopefully Discord is okay. It is my OBS that is knacking up. There we go. We should be back live, I think. And reconnection is successful, so we should be back live. Apologies about that. I think just because I've been commentating on 2 different tiers, I think my little laptop is overheating, bless it. But Keen out on top, Aurelien second, Marlon there in 3rd. Hopefully it is all going according to plan, and you can all hear me now once again as Ghost King. Now, Jamie is on a lap down in 15th position, 41.5. G-League, of course, in there in the mix in terms of the championship so far. And Ghost King's middle sector, backing that up, he's 5.5 up, and he's got a split of slipstream coming as well, potentially from the Aston Martin. He just nicks out the way there.
Yeah, so his teammate's currently P8 is Enzo, so let's see where Ghost King can put his Alpine car. Keen retired already in this session. I believe he's only done about 2 laps as well in that McLaren, so might have saved the softs later on for the race just in case of that late safety car. Here comes Ghost King throughout the final 2 corners at the bus stop chicane, and let's see what lap time he can set. Can he put that Alpine inside the top 10? It's going to be P9, just behind his teammate of Enzo there, who's currently on an outlap. So majority of people on an outlap around here at the Belgian Grand Prix. He's going to be very careful because you can see a bunch of cars lining up in that final sector before the bus stop chicane. So I know it's not people's fault they pick up a grid penalty, but at the same time, just don't get too close, you know what I mean? Because like, it's so frustrating when we have to restart the lobby and waste all that time. So I know it's not anyone's fault. No one can help it, of course, and that's what you want to do. Just back up and go for 1 by 1 at the finish line. But yeah, the game can't quite acknowledge what everybody's doing around here. It's not illegal blocking, it's just the game not really knowing what's going on out there.
As Aurelian there is retired from the session there into the pit lane. I'm just trying to see if there's anybody else, by the way, on a lap time at this stage. I believe one of the AlphaTauris potentially is towards back end fit. In fact, no, they're not, because the WSC guys are already at the session. Shocks and Mika. Mika getting disqualified for blocking the pit lane. Pokeball not on a lap either, so disappointing from his perspective for X Esports. Felix 1 not on a lap either. Lorenzino is for RCR. Max Power, however, is 3.5 tenths up. Of course, former winner around here in Belgium. But Max Power there in 14th position, 41.4. Let's see what the Red Bull man can do as he comes in toward the final couple of corners, of course, for ET8 Esports. He now comes in towards the right-hander of turn 18, then to the left-hander of turn number 19. Lelabelle saying it isn't this place, time of place, but in PSGL PCF2 worthy. It is. Keen, of course, is going to be moving to PC. So the more that we can revel in his glory, the better it will be for us on PlayStation. At least Louis Valentine invalid, Wiener invalid as well. Marlon has lost his front wing through the first sector, coming through the middle sector now. Enzo, however, on a lap for G League. Ghost King as well, backed off on a lap, but Enzo is up on a time, a 10th.5 up. Coming through the middle sector, now into the bus stop chicane. He's got a little bit of a tow from one of the Williams guys ahead of him. On the run toward the line goes Enzo, goes 8th position. I think that was as Tallis as AI, in fact. That was in front of him. And Tallis unhappy by something because a bit of weaving going on there, even with the AI. So the AI very frustrated at something. Zayn, though, going 7th for Team Chazoo. Nobody getting close to F7O in this session, though. Mohammed coming in toward the final couple of corners. Can the ETA man Nikodin toward the 140s, perhaps a little bit sketchy on the exit of the corner, on the run to the line. Nearly does, 141 flat. Actually puts himself, what, 1700ths of a second off Gaginio, and only 200ths of a second off the back of Max Power. Believe, though, that is everyone in, and that is everyone done in the session. It is Keenan on top, Aurelian second, Marlon there in third. And as I say, the more that we revel in Kian's glory, the better I think it would be. And hopefully, we see him on PCF2, because put it this way, if he's doing this in EML tonight, Jamie, he is going to be some talent going forward.
Yeah, definitely deserves it. Is Keen showing some great monumental pace, and those guys will be nervous as well if he does join PSGL F2 in PC. And yeah, it's a F7R12 as well. Marlon on his last lap, the reason why he lost his wing, I don't know if he got frustrated by something, because he was down in the first sector and into Lakami just spun the car out and lost his wing essentially. Both Ferraris have validated their last laps for Wiener and Louis there in P4 and P5, and Tails will start in P8. So it is a lobby restart. Is it a lobby restart? I'll just have a quick glance if it's not. I'll take a quick picture of all the drivers here.
Yeah, and while you will do that, I will run down the full grid order here in qualifying. Now, there's Kian out on top from Aurelian in second. It's an F7R1-2 for Marlon in third, splitting the F7R and the OP drivers. Oh, I'm going to like to see this. Wiener in fourth with Louis Valentine in fifth. Benny there in sixth. Good lap time, actually, from the GOAT, of course, on PGS. Zayn in seventh with Talles in eighth, Enzo in ninth. And Max Power running off the top 10, judged by Talles leaving the session. I think it's going to be a restart. Ghost King, Gaginio, Mohammed, Fedi, Lorenzino, top 15. Then Felix 1, Shocks, Pokeball, Mazzozo, and Mika right down at the back of the field as well. We are going to go for a slight intermission break from our sponsors, of course, Next Level Racing. We will see you and update you in a few minutes' time. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Right, good evening once again, everyone. As you can tell, we're on the intermission screen. That was a word from our sponsors, of course, Next Level Racing. And if I have my camera on, you'll be able to see the chair that I'm sitting in right now, sponsored by, of course, Next Level Racing. We are going to get a restart, of course, going here for the illegal blocking penalty that was picked up. We are going to be a couple of minutes in terms of getting everything ready. There's going to be a new lobby and everything going to be set up. So while we do that, you can sit back, relax. Unfortunately, I would say I've got music for you. We don't, because we don't want to get a copyright strike. So you've got no music. Maybe make up your own entertainment in the next 5 minutes or so. Me and Indigo will be back with you in around about that time to run you through everything in terms of the standings and everything. But until then, just sit back, relax, and wait until a very wet race that we've got here in Belgium. That's all I'm going to give away. We'll be back with you, though, in a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to Esports Masters League here for round 4 of the championship in Belgium. It is going to be a fully wet race here in Belgium. And of course, a reminder of the championship standings coming into tonight as well. Remember, Nando taking the win out on track last week from... And I'm just trying to have a look here. Giel in second, Daddlepad there in third. Outplay Racing, of course, leading the way by 17 points. F7R, though, Jamie, dominant in qualifying. Are they going to be dominant in the race?
We'll see if their qualifying pace matches their race pace too. Both of them P1 and P2, they can work well together. Aurelian and Kian, I know those two work well with each other, so hopefully they will see some great teamworks and yeah, hopefully every single driver remembers their setups as you put them in. Look at that. It's heavy rain as it was in Lobby 1, and it is going to be, like in Japan, wet, but it won't be dry towards the end because it's rigged like I put the wet inter on. That's how it was before.
Yeah, wet inter. Basically, in the 7 slots that we had in terms of the weather, the dry was literally right at the end of the race. So it was literally a difference between wet inter or wet dry, where you could have a third of the race on a set of dries or no laps on a set of dries. And again, with the accuracy, we had to try and get it to on par to what it was. Our driver standings, by the way, as well, already in leading the way on 62 points coming into tonight. Nando in second on 50. Then Tom in third on 38, with Erpek in fourth on 32. Stefano in fifth on 30. Blackbox in sixth on 28. Of course, he won the Abu Dhabi finale in PSGL in midweek. Devon there in seventh. From Gilles there in 8th, Luca Cott in 9th, and Sasha ran off the top 10 on 27, 25, 25, and 22, respectively, out on track as well. And speaking of out on track, let's have a look at the conditions, because it is absolutely chucking it down. It's typical Belgium weather. At least, though, unlike 2021, we're going to get 22 laps worth of racing here.
Yeah, hopefully not a cancellation, because in 2021 we had a cancellation due to it being wet. We only had 2 racing laps as well. And let's see then, we hopefully this time around in the league racing games, can get more than 2 laps to do the full distance, but it's going to be very difficult. So qualifying was pivotal for all these drivers and sets the tone for this race as well, because it's very difficult to overtake in the wet as well. So being high up in the qualifying positions will determine how the race goes for all the drivers. And the guys starting in 1-2, it should be great for them. Let's see how it all changes around now into Lacombe. And let's see if P3 of Marlon can try and get the slipstream of those two and try and find a way past, like Sebastian Vettel tried to do in 2017, unsuccessful. But in 2018, he did it, and he did it again in 2019 as the race is about to go underway.
Yeah, I heard that from your controller there. But the 5 later going out here in Belgium. Round number 5 of the championship, or round number 4 of the championship, is underway, and Keane gets a very good start. Aurelian's going to be alongside him in towards turn number 1. Everyone in that full set, wet conditions. Ferrari nearly out of shape there in towards turn number 1 as Wiener very much out of shape as well. I think with Lorenzinho back in the background as well. Williams flying off track on the background as well is Tales, but Keane now leading the way as we can really not even see the drivers as they come down the hill through a Rouge, now through the top of Radion. Aurelian there right on the back of Marlon, but Marlon's had a stunning start early on. Everyone that's full set, wet of conditions, but Marlon now coming at Kian on the run down the Camel Straight, in towards Lacombe. Is he going to look for the inside line? Is Aurelian going to look for the inside line on the back of Marlon? No, they're 2x2 like Noah's Ark as they go in behind. Enzo and Benny, side by side along with Zane and Max Power. Max Power trying to hang it on the outside line there. Zane now coming through the right-hander of Malmedy on the run down in towards Bruxelles, corner at the bottom of the hill. Max Power and Ghost King now are side by side in the mid-pack. Phenomenal start by everyone, really clean as well, I've got to say, from everyone throughout the majority. Shocks there having a moment there with Matt Zolso in the background. I think Mohammed getting caught up with Feddy as they go side by side coming through the track as well. But Kian now leading the way. Marlon in second, Aurelian in third. Talis side by side with Max Power down and towards Pouon. Contact there made by the Brazilian on the inside line. Max Power still there on the outside as they come through Pouon once again. Just about finding their feet, these drivers out on track. But Talis trying to hang it to the outside line. Can't. And Max Power's through and he's into 10. Brilliant start by everyone.
Yeah, so you missed it, James. Going into Lacombe, Keane went deep and outbroke himself, allowed Marlon to come through. But out of a Rivage, he actually had a moment himself, did Marlon, gave the lead back to Kian, and it was so close down into Puon. So Kian remains in P1 for the time being ahead of Marlon. Marlon there took the lead momentarily, but got too happy throttle on the traction there. Unfortunately, lost the lead immediately, but at least he split both McLaren drivers, and he could continue to put pressure. Kian really slided through, coming
Oh, Ghost
into the final
King.
two corners of the bus stop chicane. And Benny versus Ghost King into the bus stop chicane. Benny just ahead for the time being, but let's see what Marlon does, if he sends a lunge into turn one or not, or just wait, as Kian sets the fastest lap of the race as you expect on lap one. As you can see, the Ferrari of Wheeler getting a slight twitch once again. We've got Benny versus Ghost King as they head side by side out of turn one. Ghost King has the traction and the speed ahead of the Haas and moves himself up to P7. So great side-by-side action into the first lap of this race. But here we are, most importantly, on the Kemmel Straight with Marlon right behind Kian. Can he make a lunge? Here we are then. He chooses to go to the outside line as Kian defends the inside into Lacombe. I dare say Kian might be on the brakes, but Marlon sticking around the outside. Now into turn number 5 we go. Marlon on the inside. Kian trying to stick around the outside as we head into turn number 7. Kian having the inside line. Marlon losing traction there. All Raiders came through, and in the background I can see an Alpine fighting with a Ferrari, and here we are, Marlon defending against Orinin, and you can see just staying ahead there. So that was very important for Marlon not to lose that place. He almost lost one in the process after wheel spinning dramatically on the exit. I could see a Ferrari making a mistake out of no name, and that was Wiener, who's under pressure now from Enzo. Enzo might find see a lunge in the inside into P1. Oh, there's a bit of contact there. Enzo almost in a spin, and he saved the car, thankfully. That was so close.
Thankfully, it's really close racing out on track. I mean, it's close quarters. You are going to have contact. Max Power's gone completely late on the brakes there. Enzo now back through and he's into 8th position. Zane and Max Power now side by side as Zane gets that job done for Shazoo ahead of the ET8 man of Max Power. But a phenomenal start by everyone. Keen there leading the way for Marlon there in second. Ruddy in there in third. Marlon though is still on the back of him. But look at Kean's straight line speed compared to Marlon. Of course, these guys have had the opportunity to maybe even change their setups. Maybe put on a wet setup. In terms of this restart, means everyone now is on. Oh, it's Benny's very out of shape there, coming in towards Blanchimon. Ghost King had to take a board in action of a potential lag back there from the German. With Benny there in 6th, Ghost King there in 7th. Everyone is setting on fine. Fetty, by the way, came in the pit lane early on. I think he had contact further down the field, if I'm not mistaken. So that's why Fetty is a bit off the pace there for Zhu. Down in 20th position. May have had a contact potentially with Manzozo further down the field. As Tales now looks the inside line on the back of Max Power. Cannot get the move done. Lavanzinho right in the background and shot as well. But Tales is so out of shape. Almost like looks like he's got a dry setup on as he comes now down the hill in towards Rouge and Radion. Ghost King and Benny are going to be side by side. Could be Benny in the Jets potentially with the man in 6th position. Marlon coming back at Kean. Kean's got the straight line speed though to try and counteract him. Ghost King again on the back, running down the straight in towards Lakecombe. He's going to be drawing alongside as we get into the braking zone. Ghost King up the inside of Benny, the PGS man force out, and to be honest there, the PGS man not fighting that. Great move by Ghost King through and he's into 6th.
Yeah, those two can't leave each other alone, can Ghost King and Benny, as they continue to fire once again with those two there, as Benny's in the Alpine sandwich with both G Leagues right behind him too. So
look at Enzo.
Actually, Benny's actually dropped the plates. He's got Enzo on the outside of him now, going into no name in the background. We can see Mercedes sliding off into the barriers. He picked up a 3-second time penalty. So I wonder if he had a massive tank slap at the exit there of the Varge, and that's what cost him dearly. He's down into P14 now. He did hit the wall. For good measure, there's a yellow flag. Is that Zane? He's slowing down to let everybody go. And he has lost a bit of his end plate too, for good measure. So definitely made contact with the wall. I saw him slide to the barriers when I was on board with Benny, but Benny's now lost 2 places towards both Alpines there. But I did see Lewis at the fastest lap of the race earlier on. So let's see then if he could continue that and try and close in on this battle. You can see Marlon still putting pressure on Kian ahead of him. But like you said, I think Kian has got the straight line speed to neglect that and try and keep. You can see the corner speed that Marlon has into Blanchimon itself. So you can definitely see the difference in setups that these two have gone for.
Oh my god!
A massive slide. We saw Jensen Button and Sebastian Button, I think, made contact in before the bus which came there with Vettel went into a slide and made contact with the side pod of that McLaren. Here we are then, into turn number 1. Is Marlon going to send this? Yes, he is. Around the outside then. Let's see who has better traction. With massive wheel spin in the exit as they're carrying low speed there through turn 1. A slow speed corner, fighting with traction, massive wheel spin again for those two. But Kian just maintains first place. I've noticed as well, Kian locks the brakes. And here we are into Eau Rouge and Radion, the cornering speed, the downforce Marlon has on that Williams, able to keep up with Kian, but not in a straight line evidently, as that McLaren evidently has more straight line speed. But here we are into Lacombe. Kian maintains first place, but we're very careful with rear lock here because there's not a lot of chances there for him if Marlon gets past.
Put it this way, I thought Keane was actually taking the bus stop chicane in for a bit of a skid pan there as he was going Tokyo drifting through the middle of the corner on the entry into bus stop. Keane, though, leading the way from Marlon, second of Rally in third. Zane, by the way, has got that right side end plate damage. He's just came in the pit lane to go on a new set of wet compounder tyres, I believe, at the back end of the field. Of course, it is two fully wet, little blocks as we've got in the weather, and then it enters towards the end of the race. This track will dry out slightly. It is going to be full wet race though out on tracks. The inters, I would imagine, are going to be around lap 15, lap 16, as Max Powers on the back of Benny, Tales on the back of Lorenzino, who makes a mistake there coming through Puon, and that is job done for Tales too, and he's into 10th position. Position gains, by the way, early on. Lorenzino had made 5 positions. Ghost King also made 5 positions early on. Quite a few position gains as well from Pokeball Mads, also gaining 4. Most positions gains, though, as I mentioned, is Ghost King there in 6th position. And G League, of course, with Gilles' performance last week, doing a fantastic job in 2nd position last week in Japan. But here's Max Power on the back of Benny once again as we come now in toward the left-hander of Blanchimont. Benny very slow on the exit there of the corner, and Max Power's opportunity now to go up the inside line, makes a bit of contact there with the rear end of the PGS man, and that is an Alpine spinning right in front, and there's carnage into the bus stop. But Max Power broken from wing, Lorenzino broken from wing, everyone's into the pit lane, and it's all kicked off in Belgium, lap 4 out of 22. How on earth that is a VSC, I do not know. So many issues, and that all spawned from a right side end plate, I think, going across the track and behind from an instant that I didn't catch on camera.
So Enzo just locked the rear brakes up, spun the car, and was in the middle of the track. Then came the rest of them. Max Power already had damage before that contact was made into the bus stop chicane. It was like a 2013 situation all over again. Pastor Maldonado, Adrian Stutel, Esteban Gutierrez, I don't know who else was involved. Paul Di Resta as well, when Pastor Maldonado and Paul Di Resta made contact as Maldonado tried to go in the pit lane, but he couldn't because there was a Force India right in his way, or a Sauber back in them days in 2013. But here we are then. I think the virtual stage goes back to end. Max Power is out of the race already. Enzo Marlon is right in his back off Kian, and he tries to go around the outside, but he couldn't do it. He was quite quick, off that safety car restart of virtual. But both Ferraris swapping again. I think one of them's gone wide off the track into a barge, but they maintain P4 and P5 for the time being. Mohammed is dropping down, so this is not great for both ETA drivers after this restart. But it all unfolded really before the bus stop came and Max Power made contact with somebody. I think Mohammed's got damage too, so both Red Bulls will have a trip to the pits, except Max Power because he's out right now.
Yeah, definitely so. By the way, if you are tuning in to the football tonight, Newcastle's winning 2-0 against PSG. Just saying that because I'm a Sunderland fan. He and they're leading the way. Marlon in 2nd and Valiant there in 3rd. Max Power, though, that was at the top of the hill, coming in towards Lake Holm. The chicane through Lake Holm, that's where he actually, I think, rear-ended maybe into the back of Mohammed. Mohammed was certainly around his sort of breath in between. I didn't catch that because I was following the leaders actually on the restart, but very weird incident there from Max Power right down the back end of the field. Here's Lorenzino, by the way, on the back of Tales. Kian spun.
Oh, he's dropped down into P5. I don't think he made contact. It was just himself rear locking the brakes, unfortunately, and he's struggling for traction once again. And here comes Ghost King, side by side with him as we head into turn number 1.
Ghost King's off.
Is he?
What? Yeah, he's just went completely off in towards turn number 1. Destroyed, I think, one of the brake marker boards there as well. I think that was the 50-meter board that he's just broken. Ghost King off, completely steered left when the corner was right. He's completely gone left. Ghost King there on the grass, doing a bit of lawn mowing. How do you like them apples? Here's a rally no for the race lead on the back of Marlon. Looks the outside line in toward Lake Holm. NLR against F7R. And NLR, man, just about comes out on top. Oh, my word. Car control here is needed. And every inch of skill that these drivers have is well and truly needed here tonight.
Well, Marlon at the exit of Lacombe had a massive snap of oversteer, massive tank slapper, but saved it in the process. You can see lots of drivers fighting for traction, fighting for control. They don't have, unfortunately, in these wet conditions. It just brings the skill out of all these drivers here in the wet. With Wiener at the exit of No Name also getting out of shape. So these guys were very careful, trying to limit the mistakes they can. It's easier said than done, of course, in the wet. But unfortunately, Keane, massive snap of oversteer for Aurelian. And Pouon, here comes the Ferrari. And he takes P2 away from Aurelian then. So that's a big moment there for McLaren for Aurelian and Kian there. It was a 1-2 in qualifying, but in the race, it's going the other way, unfortunately, and hopefully those two can fight back. They need this race to be drier, and it will get drier, but not towards the dry stage in this race where the soft compound tyres will be used. It'll be on the inters, unfortunately. So those guys, you can see Marlon, despite a 1.2 second gap, he had a massive snap again at the exit of Stavolo there, and now Louis pressurising the F7R driver of Aurelian then, as the Ferraris have came into play now, and let's see how it all unfolds. Aurelian was putting pressure on Marlon a few laps ago, but he made a mistake by himself into the bus stop chicane once we go again, and it looks like they all remain unscathed for the time being, but you can see a lot of drivers just fighting for traction, and the rear lock-in is a big problem too. Trying to go late on the brakes, but unfortunately those rears locking up are not helping the drivers whatsoever, proven by Kian, and he even goes side by side with anybody either. He just dropped it by himself, unfortunately, the Dutchman.
Yeah, so unfortunate from Keane. Down in 5th position, but he's still in the fight. Marlon's trying to now escape away from Wiener. He's got the gap out to 8.5 tenths of a second. But the straight line speed from the OP man, he must have been on the battery down the hill, because he's looking very consistent now coming up the hill through Radion. He's there with 7.5 tenths of a second to gain. He will gain that very quickly, but speaking of gaining, look at the rally on the back of Wiener. The straight line speed really telling here as it comes now down in towards the right-hand of Lecom. Not going to get close enough though for the move. Radion remains as we are there in 3rd position. Your own saying in the chat, what am I seeing? Well, you're seeing EML F1. Well, the driver's actually on the limit in EML F1 here tonight. Marlon now leading the way. Wiener in 2nd. Aurelian there in 3rd with Louis Valentine in 4th. Keane in 5th, then goes King Tales, Lorenzino, and now Enzo P9, because he's just got ahead of Kagino. Maybe with a bit of a forceful move off track there in toward Malmedy, potentially. So might be a give up in position there from Enzo and Kagino. They're 9th and 10th. Shock's there in 11th, with Matozo in 12th. Benny 13th. They're in for a fresh set of wet compound tyres, making good ground actually in the field now with those fresh wets. And then Miko in 14th, Mohammed in 15th, Zayn and Ferdi for Shazoo 16th and 17th. XE towards down at the back end of the field with Pokeball and Felix One, of course, Max Power causing that crashing under the start at the exit of the VSC. He out of the race, but Louis Valentine now on the back of his fellow compadre Aurelian as he now comes through the right-hand of the curve, Paul Thrare in toward the left-hander now of Blanchimont, and Louis Valentine is close. Is he going to be close enough to risk it for a chocolate biscuit, maybe dunk across the cream in the gravel as well, or is he going to go for the move on the back of Aurelian? He might just do this on the outside line now into the bus stop chicane. Got to be very careful on the brakes. Could enact an OP team locking tactic potentially, or team boxing tactic, as Louis Valentine tries to hang on to the inside of Aurelian. Bit of contact, nothing more, nothing less, and Aurelian stays 3rd. Louis Valentine in 4th, and in the end, Louis Valentine made his own mistake in toward the bus stop.
Yeah, you can see a massive double lock-up for everybody as they try to slow the car down into the heavy braking zone. But I think Louis got a decent exit. No, he hasn't, because you can see him squirming for traction there as he revs it high 3rd gear, trying to fight traction. But he stays behind for the time being, with Keane still there in the back of him. So Marlon looks like he's in a great position. We saw his pace earlier on, but he made a few mistakes himself. Did Marlon coming out of some corners, for example, like Rivard just before the exit of Lacombe. And here comes Keane on the Ferrari of OP Louis Valentine. Here we are then on the Camel Straight we go into, I think Keane's backing out of this because we've seen him late in the brakes. He's not really confident with the, oh yeah, he has, but there's a bit of contact too for good measure. And the OP man of Louis Valentine just stays ahead of Keane there. And I think further behind, Lorenzino has got fast tails as well. I think Lorenzino started outside the top 10. I remember that because I was sorting out the grid and trying to find out where he was. So great start. And he made up 8 places already in 8 laps in the wet. So great start there for Lorenzino in RCR representing that team. And also his team in Matozo from P19 to P11 doing a great job too. So both Aston Martin's trying to make progress. Not actually too far behind this battle either. They're just, where are they? They're going into P1. As you can see, Keane sliding there. Keane really fighting with traction there. As he just had no grip whatsoever going into P1. He's just sliding off the track there with understeer is Keane there. So don't look confident in the wet conditions. He'd be wanting the dries, unfortunately, but it's not happening in this race. So we'll go to Inter, but I don't know if the Inters will suit him either.
Yeah, his father, by the way, Keane, is Pascal even. Keane's father, there in the chat, one emoji telling it all, I think, in terms of what we're seeing out on track, and that is the hands over the face, quite literally. Cannot watch any more of this race, I don't think. Can he take the man in 5th position, of course, King? He's in there in the fight, don't get me wrong. One mistake out of these guys in front could easily bring him back into play. GL Rami there in the chat saying hi all. Good evening to Stefano there in the chat. All out to Charlie in the chat as well. On lap 9 out of 22 here in Belgium, the rain is just beginning to ease off slightly, so we might see actually more than a third of the race here actually done in intermediate condition tyres, and Enzo was into the pit lane, and I wonder if that is going to be for a set of intermediate compounder tyres, because I think we're not too far away, even though it's still chucking it down, from the crossover period between the tyres. We'll see what Enzo's going to go on the left-hand side. We'll follow Aurelian, though, on the back of Wiener. Wiener there in 2nd, Aurelian in 3rd, and here we go. The age-old battle between F7R and OP again are going to now try and get going in toward Lake Holm as Aurelian ran the outside, and Wiener's not having any of that. Not interested with the move. And Aurelian 3rd, he's into 2nd, but he goes deep on their exit now in toward Malmedy. Wiener there for the taking once again, but Aurelian 3rd, he's into 2nd. Smart driving by the man in OP. And Aurelian there in 2nd, doing a fantastic job. There was a yellow flag in Sector 1, and that is down the straight. And that is an ass of Benny, who has spun, I think, coming out the exit of Radion. Halfway down the straight. Luckily, no end plate damage in the car, but PGS set back in position there with Benny.
Yeah, an unusual incident. I'm not quite sure if it was side by side with someone was PSG Benny. I saw that yellow flag come out halfway down the straight too. But yeah, great racing once again for Aurelian and Wiener there, just showing their class once again here in the high esports team as Enzo is overtaking Mika for P13. And yeah, so that's an interesting strategy call, you know, from Enzo. And Mika picks up a 3-second time penalty as Mohammed comes through as well. Yeah, another set of wets. You don't really want to do a 2-stop around here, but yeah, we'll see how his strategy goes. And you can see ETA Dirk asking questions for Pascal Frundorp, as here comes Louis on his teammate then. So let's see if this is a team ordered move, because you don't really see overtaking here in the wet. But let's see if Louis got the pace now to try and close on Aurelian. Marlon's doing a great job ever since the start of the race. He did lose the lead towards Kian into Ravage, but gained it back immediately after Kian made a mistake at the Busto chicane. So great pace so far from Marlon. Doesn't look like he's been challenged as Ghost King is in the pit lane too.
Yeah, Ghost King into the pit lane. I'm not really surprised actually. These tyres are wearing out a little bit harder, but looking at coming into the pit lane, looking on my TV screen compared to commentating through the laptop, it does look like it's getting a little bit lighter out on track, even though you might not see it on your camera angles. It looks like it genuinely is getting a little bit lighter, the rain out on track. Of course, is that Kagini goes for a full-on slide in towards the source there as I ride on board with him. Molden there still leading the way, Aurelian there in 2nd, Louis Valentine in 3rd, but the crossover period potentially going to come in terms of the inters. The rain is definitely easing off out on track, even though it still looks very heavy, which it is. The rain is just beginning to ease off slightly in terms of intensity, so that means we might not be too far away for a set of inters. As Shocks and Benny is side by side, coming through a Rouge and Radion of all places. Benny ahead of Shocks. Shocks maybe going for the move there on the back of the PGS man. No close to the goal there for the man in WSC on the back of Benny, and he's there in 11th position. Dirk there, of course, formerly part of OP, now part of ET8, of course, in the chat, saying OP has no straight line speed, will be a big problem on the inters. Yes, and that as well with the tyre wear. Tyre wear, if you've got no straight line speed, you're going to be using up more tyres through the corners, therefore more wear, therefore OP potentially, Jamie, going to be in a little bit of trouble towards the end of the race, with Kian already on the back of Wiener.
Yeah, let's see how it plays out for both OP gyros. As you can see, they're has no straight line speed, more corner grip, so we're using more tyres on the inters. The inters are the very softest tyres out of them all. So let's see if it's reversed towards the end of the stint, if F7R can come back and take on OP, and more wings is less tyre wear, says ETA there, which is also true as well. No DRS. No DRS will be enabled either, so it's just a pure race there with tyre wear towards the end. Let's see when they have to put on the inters, and will it be early on? You can see all in there. We can see Marlon.
Oh my god, it's 3 wide! Sorry to cut you off, it's 3 wide. Ghost King, Mazozo, and Gagini of all places coming through Curve Paul Frere. Ghost King has now got both of them. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant racing. Ghost King 30's into 8. Party in the Red Sea like Moses. Matt Zozo there in 9. Kaginio there in 10. They've just been made to look like absolute mugs from Ghost King. Through and he goes into 8th position. Brilliant racing. No contact. That's what we like to see.
Was Ghost King in the middle? Because I just jumped on board with that. It's so close between those guys. So he took on both of them. He's on a brand new set of wets, is Ghost King. So where is...
he's at a Kian.
Look at these standards. Kian. Kane's ahead of he's ahead of Kane by one extra lap. It's Ghost King. That's interesting. He's just done the undercut on him on a brand new set of wet compound tyres. Then, so we're seeing the wet tyres being used, and not the inters. I thought it was a bit too early for the inters. And our race leader, our former race leader, if I could find him, where did he rejoin? He rejoined in P6 then. Did Marlon, so he's on a brand new set of wet styles. Kian is fighting with Ghost King side by
He's control
side.
the room.
This is going to be so close. Give him a bit of a squeeze on the exits too for good measure. And now we're headed to turn number 7. Ghost King has the inside line and remains in P7. I thought Kian had him, but Ghost King with the outside line got him back as we headed to the finish there. So not ideal for Kian there, because Ghost King could be a roadblock towards Kian and allow others to do the undercut on him as well. So Kian needs to get past the Alpine immediately before it becomes a problem for him.
Yeah, Mohammed and Chokes are side by side coming through. Malmedy, a little bit of a tap there, maybe a love tap there from the Red Bull on the back of the AlphaTauri. Helmut Marko will not be happy with that bit of a love tap, maybe a little bit of carbon fibre coming off there on the AlphaTauri for sure. But already now leading the way, Louis Valentin in second, and the Frenchman currently holding the lead out on track. Wiener there in third, but Kian, of course, coming in the pit lane. Marlon also came in the pit lane, by the way. And look at how Marlon is 5.5 seconds clear of Kian. That is the big strategy call, and that mistake, of course, costing Kian. And Rallian, is he in? Yes. Louis Valentin is not. Wiener, however, follows him in. So Wiener being prioritised more than Louis Valentin is, which is an interesting call, because Louis Valentin won around, of course, in Monaco, in WR Legacy Division, in nearly changeable conditions there as well. Kian on the back of Ghost King. Rudd on the back now coming to the left-hand of the bus stop chicane. 3.5 tenths away, coming on the exit of the corner. Louis Valentin leading, Lorenzini on second, Marlon in third. Where is Aurelian going to come out in relation to these? It's pretty much going to be side by side, I think. On the exit of the pit lane between F7R and OP. Could be between Aurelian and Wiener more than likely. He's actually going to be behind Kian. There is Wiener on the exit in behind. So Aurelian there in sixth behind his teammate. Not going to suit him well at all, because he's going to be basically kind of within out of slipstream range. Kian, though, now has got to do it himself. And look at the straight line speed that he's got compared to Ghost King. Oh, and he's made to look like an absolute mug down the straight. Kian through, and he's into fourth. Straight line speed of the other day for the McLaren. As Tales now on the back of Minsoto is going to get the same move done.
Yeah, so GL did the same thing last week as well, back in Japan when it went for the early pit stop. It actually benefited them, as GL had to defend mighty there at the end towards the race between all the OP guys and S7R drivers. He did that really well as well, finished in P2. So GL Ghost King doing the undercut. It actually came out of nowhere too. He started down in P11, I believe it was, did GL Ghost King. So he's got some monumental pace here in the rain. He's now in P5, essentially in this battle. So by pitting one lap earlier, he's brought himself in this big battle for the net lead of this race. Lorenzino staying out there too in P2, gained 13 places now. So that undercut has really helped Ghost King, and Kian, it's really helped him too, because now he's ahead of Aurelian and Wiener. So Louis Valentine, I dare say, will rejoin behind his teammate Wiener when he pits, probably towards the end of this lap. So quite intrigued to see the strategy from wet to Inter, and let's see how it pays out in the second part of this race when the Inters do come in. And I think Wiener's on the back of Aurelian then as we head down towards the end of the last sector, right behind him coming through Blanchimon, but I don't think he's anywhere close enough to make a lunge. And OP Louis Valentine has stayed out there. So is Lorenzino, and so is Marlon. Well, Marlon pitted anyway, so he's in P3, but he brought the gap down dramatically on the brand new set of wet compound tyres as well.
Yeah, fresh set of wets is definitely the order of the day. Louis Valentin, I pretty much hate to think OP have split the strategy so he can go on a set of inters and be quicker than guys in the set of wets towards the end of the race. That's what I think their play is here for OP. Lorenzino and Marlon side by side now, pretty much coming down the Erosion Radion section, and look at the fresh compound tyres. Oh, and he's just gone past him so easily. On the back of Lorenzino, Marlon Thuney's into second. He's only got 4.5 seconds to the race lead, where he really has belonged throughout the entirety of this race. It's been a phenomenal performance from the NLR man. Wiener there on the back of Aurelian. He is closing in. Is he going to look for the lunge? Maybe in toward Lake Holm. Right on the back of him, Aurelian puts the block on. And yeah, he was not going to have that one, my friend. The F7R man ahead of the OP man. But look, they've got to work together, because Ghost King's tyres are actually going off the cliff slightly. Aurelian and Wiener are catching because of fresher tyres. So therefore, as Wiener's nearly out of shape, they're coming through into the exit of Bruxelles. Wiener on the back of Aurelian, but Ghost King dropping back on the back of Aurelian. This is going to suit the F7R man and the OP man well. And OP and F7R, in terms of their rivalry, have got to put that to one side for the benefit of both of their drivers now in the next 2 laps of this race.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm still on my phone there. Yeah, indeed. So you can see Aurelian's on the back of Ghost King now, so they're putting pressure. And Keane's actually dropped Ghost King, and that really helped him as well, not to get stuck behind as PSG Benny picks up 836 Kataba. He's under pressure as well.
Oh,
We've got a
Coutinho
sprinter down
spun.
there. Is that Kikino? Yeah, Kikino's had a mistake somewhere on the
Left
track. As
side down.
ETA Mohammed. Yeah, ETA Mohammed was able to get through too. And let's see what happens then between these three, with Ghost King, Aurelian, and OP Wiener being so close to the back of each other. I think Aurelian there might fancy a lunge. Into the bus stop chicane we go. And here we are. Let's see if Ghost King is laid to the brakes, which he is. But Aurelian with the outside line converted to the inside. And they keep going side by side into the final corner. Look at Wiener trying to get a decent exit out of the final corner, but can't quite make it 3 wide. And Ghost King there loses that bit of contact too with both tyres as Lavazino is in the pit lane too. And Aurelian now is up. No, he's not, because Ghost King's still there on the inside, so he's not willing to give him whatsoever. And I think Aurelian now has the edge over Ghost King. And now it's Wiener's turn. Will he get a double toe?
Felix Warner's crashed. Safety car! Safety car! Felix Warner, sorry to cut you off there, Jamie, but Felix Warner's crash coming through Campus Corner on the exit of the Fania chicane in towards Campus Corner. So that is him out of the race. That means a safety car. That means now, rain's still falling out on track. Everyone pretty much on a fresh set of wets. But one person, Lorenzino, Race Concept Racing, new, of course, to the championship, replacing FBR tonight. Big call, going on a set of intermediate compound tyres. Is it the right call? We'll see with Pokeball and Coutinho. Coutinho, by the way, had damage from an incident, I think, at Pouon. They're onto full set wetter compound tyres, so they are not confident at all that it's going to be Inters come the end of the race. Louis Valentin, he now is in there in first position. Doing a good job. Marlon there in second, Kean there in third. Felix Swan, though, out of the race. Very unfortunate for him. We saying it's rigged. It's not rigged whatsoever. It was just an unfortunate incident, I think, with Felix Swan. I think he had damage prior to that incident in towards Campos. Unfortunate for him. XE Sports out of the race with him. But Louis Valentin leading the way. Marlon in second. Louis Valentin can't really get away with an undercut because Marlon's on fresher tyres. Louis Valentin's going to drop potentially behind Wiener and Tales. So this is going to play into the hands of every single person that is on a fresh set of wet compound tyres. So this doesn't really suit anyone in terms of safety car. But I'm saying this now, Jamie. Looks like the rain coming through Curve Paul Frey is just beginning to relent slightly. So we might see Inter soon.
If it is Inter tyres time, Louis Valentine has been absolutely blessed with a safety car. He won't lose a lot of time as the deficit has been reduced now with the safety car. So if it is Inter's right now, then everybody will be in the pit lane as Lorenzino has done. And let's see then what they do in this bus stop chicane. Is he going to dive into the pit lane? He should do. Yes, it's going to be Inter's. That Marlon is going into the pit lane too. So I think everybody will follow each other now. And OP Louis Valentine, will he get ahead?
Oh my God.
Williams' pit lane is further down the field and the Ferrari pit lane's first. And let's see
Inter's.
if Marlon, Louis will get held up by the rest of the guys. No, he gets out well ahead and rejoining first, should be still, as Marlon's in his pit box.
Inters as well for Marlon. So Marlon's in for a set of Inters. Louis Valentine in for a set of Inters. And that actually has put Louis Valentine well ahead of Marlon coming out of the pit box. So Marlon's actually been held up by about a second, I think, coming out the pit lane. Means Louis Valentine now in the lead of the race. Marlon in second, Lorenzino in third. Everyone now filtering in. So what I was saying, 5 laps ago, I thought the rain was easing. You can tell that it's relented slightly within the race. They've had to go on Inters, basically because they're forced to. It's absolutely trucking it down out on track. The way the rain is falling, these Inters can only dispose of 25 litres of water a second compared to a full set of wets on a set of, on 75 litres of water a second. So the comparison is there. Full set of wets, basically in what I would say dry compounder tyres, is like a set of hards, whereas the set of Inters is more like a medium compounder tyre. This is like the middle of the road in terms of the wet compounder tyres that we have available. And of course, within Formula 1, they've got the extreme wet tyre, even though they can't race in it because you can only get 2 laps of racing apparently in Belgium in 2021, even with extreme wet tyres on. But Louis Valentine leading the way, Marlon second, Keenan third. From my perspective, the rain is easing. It's easing slowly, but the track is not going to dry for the real intermediate compounder tyres to come into play. So Pokeball and Coutinho, staying out there in a full set of wets, they could be looking at this towards the end of the race and thinking, well, they could easily get a top 10, maybe even a top 5 finish. It all depends on how this rain relents towards the end.
Yeah, so for their strategy, they're going to make sure the rain doesn't ease up in the safety car period, and hopefully it's wet enough for the wets to be good tires still while the inters are struggling. So these guys on the inters there, they'll be hoping that the track is good enough for the inters and just like standing water for those drivers to manage to go around. But yeah, safety car is out. Then OP Lewin Valentine staying out there longer on the wet compound tires. Lorenzino has boosted himself up into P4 as well because he pitted, I think, just before the safety car came out. Yeah, he pitted, then the safety car came out, did Lorenzino, so didn't lose a lot of time in the process either. Actually jumped O'Reilly and Ghost King and Wiener in the pit lane. So Lorenzino, the RCR driver, replacing FVR as FVR, their last race was at the Japanese Grand Prix. RCR Lorenzino started P15 and now he's into P4, looking good for this race as well. So let's see if he's got the pace to manage that. If Marlon had the pace he did on the wet tyres before, let's see if he can continue that onto the inters. Or what about the Ferrari drivers this time? Can they manage to stay closer towards Marlon? Can they defend too? What about both McLaren drivers like Kian? We've seen him really suffer with the rear locking of the brakes as well for Kian and sliding through the corners. So let's see if the inters are a better phase for him this time round.
Yeah, definitely so. Lap 16 out of 22 just beginning here in EML for round number 4 of the championship. Myself and Jamie Morris taking you through the action here for EML F1 in Belgium in a very dank, soddy, really wet, rainy Belgium. It's pretty much like real life in the northeast of England pretty much every day of the week. But Louis Valentine leading the way for Moreland second, Kian there in third. Tallers, by the way, in terms of penalties, Tallers on 3, Manzoso on 3, then Pokerall on 6, Benny on 3, Zane on 3, Mika on 6, and Cagino on 6. And Cagino has came out in a fresh set of intermediate compound tyres, so that only leaves Pokerall out there on a full set of wets, who feels like it's not confident enough for him, certainly, to go on that full set of intermediate compound tyres, which could be a blessing in disguise. If he's quicker than everyone else on the safety car restart, Jamie, he's going to be right there before the rain actually easing off and the inters become to play. X Esports might have pulled a blinder, or they've pulled potentially one of the worst calls in their careers.
Yeah, what if it's one of the worst calls? You're 4 back to the end. You've got to make the decision now if he hits before the safety car goes in. Oh yeah, he can't because I think everybody's caught up. So that's his strategy call. Will it pay dividends for him, or will he drop like a stone and fall down to P18? As Kikino has probably made the right choice to follow everybody just in case that happens. So the safety car, I think, will be the end of this lap. But I think Marlon's in a great position in P2. We saw his pace early in the wet too, and I think he'll continue it on this interstation. Louis Valentine has got a lot of defending in his disposal. Well, got a lot of defending there for him, and let's see if he's got that in his toolbox tonight. He's got a lot of defending to do, and let's see. In the wet conditions, it can be a little bit difficult to overtake too, so maybe he's got that advantage. Track positions he's got, but Marlon's pace really get him towards the end as well. What about Kian? What about O'Reilly as well? Ghost King, Lorenzino as well, and OP Wiener. Let's see if those guys can get any closer as well. Now we're coming towards the inters, not torrential rain as the safety car is in at the end of this lap then. So we'll get racing once again on lap 16 with 5 laps left to go after this one. Louis Valentine's got a lot of defending to do, and Marlon there will have 1 car in front of him. And let's see if it'll be easy for not for him in P2 after he's led majority of this race as Marlon, and now got some work to do after this safety car restart to try and get his first place back after Louis Valentine got absolutely blessed with the safety car. And let's see then. Maybe that was his strategy all along, go to wet to Inter, but not as early as he thought it'd be with that safety car coming out. But let's see that his strategy's definitely played dividends as he's in P1 and got track position, and he's bolted too.
Wow.
He's gone, and he's left a good margin over Marlon as well as we head through the Bonchimon. You're not allowed to overtake before the first safety car, so no overtaking here at the bus stop chicane. It'll be happening down at turn number 1. Let's see who gets a good entry and exit out of the bus stop chicane to make their way into position at turn 1.
Yeah, Louis Valentine comes across the line, lap 17 out of 22, already trying to dice out of the slipstream to Marlon. Marlon there 6/10 away from him. Sun beginning to come through actually on the clouds, which is very rare to see. The Inters are definitely now going to be working. Pokerall out there is going to be an absolute sitting duck, but Louis Valentine leading the way down the hill. Freddy and Mohammed are side by side, coming down the hill as well. And there's a yellow flag, and that's Cagino off coming through turn number 1 at La Source. But Louis Valentine leading the way. Marlon there in second, Kian there in third, Enzo right on the back of Tallers now, running down the Kennel Straight in towards Lake Holm. You can tell the track conditions really begin to dry up, and Enzo now blasts past Tallers to the outside line in toward Lake Holm. Tallers is still there though on the inside, very late on the brakes, never getting that one that car stopped Sunshine. He's there in 8th, Enzo there in 9th, Mohammed there still on the back of Fetty. To be honest though, Pokeroll's wet compound tyres still sticking in there. He's there in 13th position, just about getting, but once the Inters find their feet, they're going to be so much quicker than the wet. Pokeroll's got no chance on those tyres, and Tales now, I think, has actually let Enzo back through in terms of that move. Very fair racing there. Probably got told by NLR to let that through. Won't be a stupid investigation. Enzo back through and he's into 8th.
Yeah, I saw that. Tails there just pulled to one side before Ravage and let Enzo go. So I think he knows his own mistake. He was very deep on the brakes there into Lacombe. And now, thanks to that, they've lost a lot of time. They're 2.2 seconds away. So it's cost a big time there by dropping back. But yeah, good sportsmanship from those two. And yeah, great to see that the sportsmanship is there. But Enzo's 2.3 away, so it's definitely cost him big time. Can he close it back? However, OP Leo can't dispose. He can't dispatch the Williams and Marlon.
It's Marlon.
Got some great cornering speed. Here he is at the bus stop chicane then. Let's see if he lays the brakes. Yes, he has the outside line going into the bus stop chicane. Goes a bit deep as well for good measure.
No.
OP Leo has the outside line and remains in P1 for the time being. So Marlon there a bit deep on the brakes, and unfortunately he's cost himself. But it looks like Louis lives to fight another day.
He does for now, but the Frenchman, using all of his experience, Marlon has a bit of a Tokyo drift there through turn number 1 at the source. Just about keeps the car going in a straight line, going through the midpoint of the corner. But Louis Valentine leading the way. Marlon there in 2nd. Kean there in 3rd. Avatar saying in the chat it'll be tough for the intermediate compound tyre. The line is still full of water. We'll see who can maintain the stability of the car. Here comes Marlon though, on the back of Louis Valentine to the inside line, running down the Kemmel straight in toward Lacombe. The OP man is going to try and drift all the way across track if he can, but Marlon's there on the brakes. The camera shot comes out and Louis Valentine's actually back in front of him. Louis Valentine brilliant on the brakes through in toward Lacombe. Marlon, they're still there, coming around the outside of Molnody, running down the hill once again as they come now in toward the right hand of Bruxelles. Louis Valentine, though, leading the way for Marlon in 2nd, Keenan 3rd. Brilliant battling between OP and LR. This is how it is done in the wet compound tyres. And put it this way, I'm actually glad I'm sitting in here in the commentary box rather than being out there on track.
I'm actually proud of those two. Those two went side by side in such difficult corners in Lacombe. They didn't even wheel barge either, which you can do. But these two, absolute phenomenal driving. Louis Valentine maintaining the pressure well despite being hunted down by Marlon. And Marlon trying to switch back but couldn't get him. And Louis was quite deep on the brakes too. So massive respect for car control too and keeping the guy behind. But he's fighting so hard as Louis Valentine. You can see Marlon just trying to force a move into the bus of chicane and into Lacombe. Second time he survived, will it be 3rd time lucky when Marlon arrives on the scene? And once again, what tactics will he play? Will he wait later on? Will he go for it immediately? You can see Bonchim on all the speed he has in his momentum to try and hunt down Louis as we head once again for the 2nd time into the bus of chicane. But this time Marlon thinks better because he went deep last time, so thinks better of it and stays there, probably trying to look for a better exit against Louis. As for the time being, they remain in P1 and P2. Looks like Kian is more in this battle as well, so it might not be over between Kian. But as we head down into La Source, then it's turn 1, we say Lewis Hamilton had a half spin, collected the car, then Raikkonen and Hamilton had their battle in the wet as well coming out. It's a big train as well from P1 to P7, so it's monumentally close between all these guys fighting for P1 with only 4 laps to go in this race. Now coming through over Giovanni on Marlon, much more closer. He might get Louis on the straight, just that Ferrari straight line speed not working in his favours. Here we are. Marlon takes the lead in this race and nothing Louis could do about it. Just vulnerable on the straight there, unless he goes down the inside, which he can't do. So Marlon's up to P1 again.
Yeah, really good racing from Marlon and Louis Valentine out on track. Louis Valentine, I was about to say, would become the Minister of Defence for outplayed racing, I think, if he was to defend that. But Marlon there now in front. He just seems to have a better setup compared to OP at the minute with Louis Valentine in 2nd. Marlon, though, his main concern is the corners. He's so sketchy coming out of them, you always think he's going to actually spin the car. Luckily not the case. Louis Valentine there in 2nd. His straight line speed's going to make up for good momentum. Maybe won the next lap around, but Marlon now beginning to pull away. Is this the moment that Marlon is now going to stamp his authority on the race here in Belgium? Louis Valentine, though, to be fair, still sticking in there in 2nd. A guy that we forgot about in this battle as well, Ghost King, on the back of Aurelian, 5th and 6th position. Yes, he's got a penalty, but Ghost King is looking so quick. His tyres are really hooked on compared to everyone else in front. He's got 50% of ERS to dispose of. And Ghost King, all over the back of Aurelian, is flinging this car pretty much flat out through Curveball Throw, which you can't normally in the wet. Ghost King knows how to take the wet lines here. He is French after all. Plenty of rain used there in France. As Aurelian now closing up to the back of Lorenzino. The RCO man now a sitting duck into the bus stop chicane. Aurelian on the outside line. Might try and look all the way around the outside. Now for the inside line into the bus stop. Aurelian knows how to stick a car to the inside line. Force them off track. It was all fair and nothing more. Now Ghost King gets both of them running down in towards Sun Want the Source. And Ghost King, by one, you get 1 free, and he's through, and he's into 4th, and Wiener right on the brakes there toward Lorenzino. Lorenzino's tyres going off the cliff, it seems. Everyone on that fresher set of intermediates working well. Molan leads, Louis Valentine second, Keenan third. The front three pulling away from Ghost King, but that was remarkable stuff between Aurelian and Wiener. He forced him off track. No contact in that. It was just a bit of a forceful lunge, and here he comes on the back of Ghost King, now repaying the favour up to 4th.
Yeah, I feel bad for Lorenzino there. He got swamped by 3 cars in a matter of corners, so he drops into P7 from P4. And yeah, that was good from Ghost King to bide his time. Wow, look, Matozo versus Mohammed. Look at these 2 M's going side by side, Mohammed and Matozo, and it's so close once again. And here we are at the top of the hill. He just has to back out of Matozo. But yeah, it's a shame there for Lorenzino and P7. But yeah, Ghost King, by this time, he knew that Aurelian and Lorenzino were fighting side by side. And just by this time, got a better exit than them both, out-dragged them towards turn 1. Then eventually Aurelian got back through and up into P4. But the battle for P1's not over yet still, with Louis in P2 just under a second there. You can see Kian start to put the pressure against Louis Valentine as well. So let's see Kian's resurgence through this last part of the race, because he really struggled in the wet conditions. Now into the inter conditions, looks like he's coming back. So despite those mistakes, looks like it hasn't phased him. Could be on course for a P2 or P finish, but I think Marlon's got into the back if he keeps his pace up, because his pace has been phenomenal for the entirety of this event. And here we are then. What about the bus stop chicane? Is he close enough? Is Kian? Ooh, it might be a late braking, but not close enough. Trying to force Louis into a mistake.
Yeah, he is, and Louis Valentine's nearly dropping outside of, well, he has pretty much dropped outside of what would be DRS range on the back of Marlon. I'm going to say slipstream range here in the wet compound of tyres, but 2 laps to go. Are we going to see the age-old battle between OP and FBR, F7R even, in terms of the racing? F7R currently outscoring OP as it stands, so Kian needs to make this move just to try and consolidate their position, maybe even taking the championship lead with them going into next week, of course, in Qatar, which is going to be very exciting, I've got to say, for the racing around here. Kian knows how to race from there. He also knows how to pass Louis Valentine to the outside line, in towards the Camel straight, down in toward Lake Holm, and Kian is through and he's into second. Louis Valentine not putting up a fight. His fight will be on the next lap, though, because he's got slightly less ERS than him. 2% less compared to Kian. If he can use up that battery and save that up for the last lap, he's in there with a fighting chance. But Marlon there leading the way. It seems like they're all playing second fiddle right now, though, Jamie, because Marlon has just looked supremely confident in the wet tonight. The NLR man has done a fantastic job. Kian in second, Louis Valentine in third. The 2 guys in behind, I'll argue the point, the 4 guys in behind are no mugs whatsoever, and Marlon's made them to look very ordinary, I've got to say, in these conditions.
Yeah, and Marlon's on his way to claim NLR's first podium/win this season. If it is going to stay this way, we should do. And there's yellow flags because Zane has crashed, and that's the exit of P1 as well. We saw Antonio Giovinazzi back in 2019, who had a crash at the exit of that corner when Leclerc and Hamilton were fighting out back in that year with the Ferrari engine. But this time, Williams on top there with NLR Marlon, and he goes quickest as well in the middle sector by a 10th. So Marlon there continuing his great form. Nobody's pressurised him, and he'll claim NLR's first win this season. And they're fighting with G League as well in the championship as both drivers of G League.
Lorenzino, let's have a look. Outside line into the bus stop now for the inside line. Saw Aurelian do this a little bit earlier on. Not going to get the job done there, my friend. Ghost King with the traction, getting the job done. He's into 6th position. Great fighting, though, from Lorenzino. Even on that wearing compound attire, doing a fantastic job. Yaron maybe taking my job there in the chat in terms of the predictions. His prediction apparently is perfect right now, with Marlon, Keenan and Louis Valentine the top 3. I didn't see him put P2, I've got to be honest, there in the chat. But Marlon there leading the way. Keenan second, Louis Valentine in third. Final lap of the race about to begin. Oh, well, won the final lap of the race even. And here's Lorenzino looking for a very, very thin Aston Martin shaped gap through Kemmel Corner, down the Kemmel Straight. And Lorenzino's ahead of Ghost King. To be fair, the room was going to come from brilliant impetus there from the Aston Martin. He's through and he's into 6th position. And the other man from RCR, from Race Concept Racing, man Zozo, getting the move done to Mohammed as well. So RCR having a very good day at the office here in 11th and 12th. But it seems like there's only one man that is going to be winning the race win, and that is Marlon. It's 1.1 seconds out of the gap between himself, Keane, and Louis Valentine. It has looked a real supreme performance by the man in NLR. Of course, fresh from a podium finish in PSGL in the season finale, finishing P3 out on track, of course, on Monday. Marlon there is now going to be on recording a potential victory here. As long as he can keep it in the white lines and as long as he doesn't make a mistake, the NLR man is going to be coming home for his first win and for NLR's first win this season as well. Coming through curveball throw for the final time. Freddy on the back of Tales. Tales on the back of Enzo is going to be an interesting one to watch out for as well. But we're right on board with Marlon. Coming now in toward the final couple of corners. In towards Blanchimont for the final time. He has really excelled in these conditions out on track. These conditions are made for him. This track was made for him. And that setup was made for him as well. As Marlon now comes through the final couple of corners at the bus stop chicane. NLR are going to have their first victory this season. Marlon to the line, wins in Belgium from Kian in second, Louis Valentine in third. They tried as they must. They could not get close to Marlon in the end. Aurelian in fourth, Rena there in fifth. Good battle to the line between Tales, Enzo. They were side by side actually coming across the line on the run past the start-finish line. But Marlon there wins, Kian in second, Louis Valentine in third. Great race out on track. But Marlon out on top. And actually silences F7R and OP, maybe just for 1 week.
Yeah, what a great drive. Definitely the driver of the day for NLR Marlin. What a great drive also from Lorenzino, because I think he started down, was it P15 for him? Not quite sure. But he made a great comeback drive as well. Chose the right strategy to go the Inters, and he actually drove the day on the screen as well. So, yeah, great drive for both of them. Lorenzino, great drive from Kian as well, because remember the bus stop chicane, he reeled out the brakes and lost a few positions. So, yeah, it's a great comeback drive for him as well. And, yeah, fully deserved win for NLR Marlin. NLR will be very pleased with him tonight. They should be, and you can see some people in the comment section. NLR Thomas and Harley as well. They're very proud of the German driver, as they should be. And yeah, what a great race from him. Controlled it ever since start to finish. And yeah, the conditions have been very difficult tonight in the wet. No dry whatsoever, only in qualifying. Qualifying was very important to as well. Determine the race, but actually third place was won the race. Kian there just struggling on the setup as well, and Rena took the fastest lap of the race with a 53.3. You can see a few drivers picking up penalties, as both Alpines did in P8 and P9, and yeah, hopefully those guys can come back stronger as well. But Kian with a 39.9, Kian Holland up. Wow, what a lap time from him. I don't think I've ever seen a 39 before in a race I've witnessed, so that was just a next level right there.
Yeah, it was. Qualifying will be something to behold of from Keane. Couldn't get quite close enough to the race win. It's Marlon that takes the win out on track here, of course, in Belgium from Keane in second. Louis Valentine there in third. The main three teams, ideally, coming to the fore. Running there in fourth. OP Wiener there in fifth. Very much tied on points, I think, between F7R and OP from tonight. Lorenzino there in sixth with Freddy in seventh. Good debut, actually, from Lorenzino in sixth. Ghost King, then Enzo and Tales top 10. Then Mazzozo, Mohammed, Shocked, Benny, Caginio top 15. Good points haul there for PGS. Mika, Pokerall, who didn't actually come at home in terms of the wet. Zane, and then Felix Warner, Max Power out of the race late on. Zane also out of the race late on as well. But a phenomenal race out on track here in Belgium. We really hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, you can like, comment, subscribe. Tick the notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. And next week, Jamie, we come to one of my favourite tracks on the F1 23 game. Of course, it is Qatar. It is a race where we've seen the cleanest racing standards in PSGL F1 all season. It is the racing standards as well that we've seen in Legacy Division that really makes this track tick. Qatar next week, under the night light, it's going to be one hell of a race.
Yeah, one big DRS trail as well for good measure. That 1 kilometer straight, that's probably the main place to overtake as well. The high speed triple right-hander corners and the whole circuit of the track as well. And also is the Qatar Grand Prix this weekend too. So this weekend and next Wednesday, Max Verstappen could clinch his third championship this season in the sprint race alone. So we might see a championship won at the Qatar Grand Prix this weekend. Can Verstappen do it to get his 3-time world championship under his belt? But anyways, for EML, it should be a phenomenal race there in Qatar. I've witnessed some great races in Qatar too, and let's see if it's going to be another one like it was here in Belgium, Japan, and Australia, and Silverstone will had those races too. So it's been a great season. I'm actually pleased to commentate for EML and seeing all these drivers perform really well. High tier racing too. classic driving more of these guys, especially that side by side moment between Louis and Kian as well, or Louis and Marlon into Lacombe. That was some great racing in the wet there, just keeping it nice and clean, no contact either, and showed why they're the best out of there. So really pleased to commentate for EML. Thank you for the opportunity as well. It's been a pleasure to commentate, and we'll enjoy some more in the next few races as well.
Yeah, EML F2 also is live right now, or was live right now. It has literally just finished, even before us, because of the restart. So yeah, EML F2, if you do want to watch that, you can watch that now on the channel. That is available for you guys to watch. But if you want to watch this back, you can do that as well. And of course, Kazizzle took the race win in PSGL in PSGL PSF1 on the final lap of the race. Sam Gamer got at the final corner on the final lap of the race in Legacy Division and in Console Tier 1. Is it going to be more of the same in Qatar next week in EML? You will have to tune in and find out. Big thank you to everyone tuning in. Big thank you to Jamie Morris in the commentary box alongside me, James Head. I've been your lead commentator for tonight. Jamie, of course, co-coms alongside me. Really hope you enjoyed it. We're going to go offline with a word from our sponsors, of course, Next Level Racing. Thank you so much for watching here in Belgium. And until next week in Qatar, goodbye.